The old Les Paul needs some new strings, so let's have a pipe and let's do that right now, right here in Justin's joint. Well, here we are, folks, back down here at the old Justin's joint desk. The camera angle is a little bit funny, if you'll notice, and that is because I'm trying to get as much of this beauty in the shot as possible. So what this is my 2018, I think it's an 18, hang on. No. This is a 2016. See, it's a good thing I checked. I didn't realize that I'd had it that long. This is a 2016 Les Paul 50s tribute. So this is like the, I don't know, it's the cheap Gibson. Like it's the low cost Gibson guitar. So it's like, I don't know, it's probably fairly equivalent to a somewhat of a mid-range to high dollar Epiphone. Maybe, I don't know. It's a beautiful guitar though, and it sounds really great. However, it's been quite a long time since this bad boy had some strings. As a matter of fact, let's just look. So, little Justin's joint top tip for you. What I like to do, and now I don't play so hard that I break strings. Like I never break strings. So, if I don't somehow make a note of, you know, when the last time I changed the strings were, I'll go for years. And that's not good because a new set of strings sounds really nice. So what I like to do every time I change the strings is I just put a little piece of painter's tape on the back of the guitar with the date that I changed the strings. So I'm changing the strings on this guy today, so it'll get a new piece of painter's tape. The same thing I do for marking my tobacco jars, just a piece of painter's tape and some Sharpie stuck to the back there. That way I can tell. This guy was last changed 4/21 of 18, okay? Now, today is 4/10 of 19. So these strings, they are ready to go. They're ready to go. So we're just gonna go ahead and do this right now. I should have done this months ago, folks. I feel like I'm neglecting this guitar by letting it go this long, but you know, I've got so many guitars now that I don't tend to play them all. I tend to go through phases, you know, like this one kind of went through an out of phase season, so I wasn't playing it as much, and so, you know, I just didn't change the strings. Well, what can I say? I got no excuses. It's just what it is. So in the church warden tonight, we got some Bob's Chocolate Flake, BCF, one of my faves. One of my faves. I've actually had this Bob's Chocolate Flake for a little while now, and so yeah, probably about 6 months, maybe maybe pushing close to a year. And so, you know, it's really nice, the moisture content. It's still really wet. You know, I've got it in a jar, and it slowly dries out. You know, a little bit of moisture escapes every time you open the jar. So it's to the point now where I don't necessarily need to dry it when I smoke it, but it definitely is still very wet. So, you know, it is what it is. However, tastes frickin' amazing. As a matter of fact, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to go get my Zippo because I'm going to talk a whole bunch and I'm going to just power through this box of matches if I don't go get a lighter. Because I am sensing I'm sensing some relights, folks. Relight City. Okay. Alright, we're back. So I'm going to go ahead and get this pipe lit, get a couple more tokes up off of it here. Okay. Well, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about here other than just changing the strings on my guitar, so we're just gonna get after it here. I'm gonna pull the neck off of the desk here just a little bit. Let me turn the mic a little bit. There we go. All right, so all I'm gonna do is just use my little handy dandy string winder thingy here, and we're just gonna loosen them up. Just get them loosened up. String winders are a must. They are a must. This camera angle's terrible, but you know, whatever. Alright, so let's pull this guy and let's just begin unwinding. One of these days I should put some locking tuners on this bad boy. That would be pretty sick. But until then, we're just gonna use the old Gibson standards here. Alright. Now then, let's just go ahead and take these off. Now, I like to top wrap my guitars, which is, if you can see this right here. Sometimes, or most of the time, what people do is they put their strings straight through here and then up over the bridge and then up this way. Now, with these guitars, I found that that creates too steep of an angle in this area, and what tends to happen sometimes is that the string will actually touch the back side of the bridge here, and that ain't no good. That just causes all kinds of problems. And so, you know, the other thing too, and I don't know how true this is, but having doing the top wrapped saddle like this, you can crank this guy all the way down onto the body of the guitar. So theoretically, it helps sustain, helps tone, I don't know. It probably doesn't. It's probably all purely psychological. For me, I just like the way mostly that it looks, and I especially like the way that it feels when you're playing it, because it gives you someplace to, you know, rest your hand. You know, some people may or may not like top wrapping, but you know, I started top wrapping when I first got my SG, my Gibson SG, and that was probably in about 2000. Oh man, I've had that guitar forever. That was probably about 2010, maybe 2012. It's a 2008 guitar, and it was a couple years old when I got it. So 2010 sounds about right. And I have been top wrapping ever since with this style of a bridge and saddle. Just because there was something about my SG, and that's where I kind of started doing this. My SG, the way that it was set up, it was used when I bought it at Guitar Center. The way that it was set up is that it was actually touching here, and you know, in order for me to, well, it wasn't touching at the store, I guess. Let me walk that back. It wasn't touching at the store, but I brought it home and decided to go and, you know, set it up the way that I like it, you know, as far as action height and all that stuff. And when I made the necessary adjustments, things down Things down here, no, they weren't happening. So that's where I decided to just go ahead and start top wrapping, and then I decided that I like the way that it feels having the strings come over the top here as opposed to down underneath, because then your hand doesn't fall down in here. Your hand sits on top of the strings. So okay, so we've got the strings off, so you know, we're just gonna kind of take and wipe this guy down just a little bit, ever so slightly. It's not terribly dirty, but take the opportunity while the strings are off to just dust it a little bit, because you can't always get down in here with a rag to dust with the strings on. All right. So that is looking fairly decent, and that's about as far as I'm going to go. Now, another thing I like to do, especially on Gibsons, the way that the headstock is, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but up here in the nut, you know, the way that these they come in and they kind of angle over, so there's a little bit of friction there. And I found that it makes for a better, more stable tuning guitar if you just take a pencil and put a little graphite down in there. But actually, it actually looks like there's plenty of graphite down in there from the last time I did it, so I'm just going to leave it. We're just going to go ahead and start stringing up some guitar strings. But first, what is this, relight number 3, relight number 4? I don't even know. I'm losing track here. Let me move my ashtray over here somewhere, maybe right about there. So what I got here, and yes, I'm clenching a church warden. It's possible. I like to use these GHS boomers. These are 10 to 46. Hashtag not a sponsor. I bought these myself because I like them. Justin's Joint ain't got no sponsors. Anyway, so I just like these. I don't know, I started playing with these a really long time ago, and I have been playing with them ever since. Boy, probably ever since about 2008. I don't even know. I mean, it's been a really long time since I started playing with these. So now stringing this bad boy up is really just a piece of cake. It's nothing special to it. You know, I liked it better when these came in a paper pouch. You know, they were sealed up in here, but they were just in paper, and now they're in this plastic, and it's not quite as easy to get them open. Maybe I can use my little snippers here. There we go. Alright, so here is string number 1. This one is the 46. Yep, the 46. So this is the low E. So, whoa, as it frickin' just pokes me right in my eye. Safety first, people. Safety first. So the only trick I suppose about doing this is that when you run this in, you have to, sometimes it's a little bit hard because you got to run it in from this way first. And I know the camera angle is actually kind of terrible. Let me pull this over this way just a smidge. My desk is full, man. It's full, man. Okay, so you feed it in this way and then you wrap it up over the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now the trick to this is you got to make sure before you wrap it, because it actually bends the string right here. Make sure that you have it seated if you're gonna top wrap, because I've done this before where it wasn't completely seated and then you wind up with a rogue bend right there. And it's not like it's a bad thing, but it kind of creates a weak spot right here where you could potentially get some breakage. And that is no good. So, just gonna feed that guy through there. And I like to leave just a little bit of slack here. Let me pull this guy this way. And then just kind of sort of start wrapping, because I like to leave a little bit of slack. I don't like to have a lot of wraps, a lot of winds up here, but at the same time, you need to have enough winds that it holds on. So like what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna kind of back it off maybe about that much. And there is not, this is more art than science, people. This is definitely more art than science. Alright, so right about there, and then we're just gonna kind of sort of begin at the beginning. I like to put a kink in it right there. That way it kind of sort of starts off on the right foot. Okay, and this is gonna be just about right. Looks like we got about one wind. We might wind up with two winds. Yeah, right there. That's about one wind around there, and it's seated down here. It's in the saddle. I guess it would help if I'd get it in the frickin' nut. Let me loosen that up. There we go. Alright. Okay. So there's the first string, and now we just go down the line. There's the 36. Oh, this one has a little perforation in it. The other one did not have that luxury. And this is where it gets a little interesting. Now you could, I suppose, pre-weave all your strings through there, but I like to get one tension. That way this saddle piece isn't just dancing around down here like a Kansas City. I can't say that on YouTube. Blazing Saddles, man. Great movie. Great movie. Alright, so we're just going to fish this guy through here. And then, you know, this is where it gets interesting. Sometimes you might have to, you know, bend the string off just a little bit and pull it through. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. Make sure that it's all the way seated. Run it up here. And we are going to feed that guy through. Something like this. And again, make sure there's a little bit of slack there. Straighten it out. So ideally, you want to basically pull it back about the same amount as the circumference of the pin. That way you get one full wind plus whatever wind, you know, you end up with in tensioning the thing. So it's, you know, I don't know, it's maybe about the width of a finger. You know, you pull it and then you take it back about that much. Like I said, it's more art than science, but you know, all right. I'm dancing around here. Okay. Here we go. Alright. And then we're just gonna wind her up. Make sure that it seats itself on the bridge. Alright. There we go. Get it seated right there. Okay, and then we're just gonna leave these. We're gonna leave these for now. I don't like to cut these off until the very end. I like to leave those on there just in case. Just in case you get it not enough winds here and you got to start over. It does create a weak spot if you have to rewind it if you screwed it up, but you know, whatever. I think that happened to me last time I put strings on my SG, and you know, that was about 6 months ago, and it's doing alright, so, you know. Alright, next string, we're just gonna bring this guy right up through here, and there we go. Alright, we're gonna pull it back and push back maybe about that much, and we're gonna wind her up. Wind her up. Make sure that it winds up in the nut and on the bridge. Alright, that is just about perfect. We are moving right along. Alright, so that was 46, 36, 26. That one wasn't quite in the bridge. 46, 26, 36, and now we're going to go with the 17. Then we got 17, 13, and 10. Those are the strings I like to play. Probably a fairly medium size, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know, man. I'm one of those guys. I don't need to know the science behind it. I just need to know that it works. Or I just need to know that it feels good and that it works good for me. You know? Guitar strings is more of a feel thing than anything, because you know, it's what you touch as you're playing the thing. So for me, it's more of a feel. Well, I mean, and they sound good. They definitely have. The string gives the guitar a certain sound. There's no doubt about that. But for me, it's more about feel. Now for these guys, without the windings on, the smooth strings, I do like to leave maybe just a little bit more for windings up here, just because there's less friction. So it gives it more friction around here to grab on. So we're going to do about twice as much here. Alright, so we're going to go maybe a thumb's width instead. And we're just going to start to winding. Winding and dining. That didn't make any sense. Come on, Bessie. Whoop. Alright, here we go. And it is in the bridge. And it is laying across the saddle. That is perfect. Alright. 2 strings left. 13, here we go, baby. You know what? Boy, this is hard work. I think I need to slow her down. Take a little break here. Okay. Alright, now then, get these bent up and out of the way here. So now. Okay. Here we are. Alright, just checking to make sure everything is seating right, and it looks like it is. My guitar is sliding out of view here, so let's just slide that back into view. Alright, there's that one. Let's set the pipe down. Let's hit up the last string, and then we'll give it a quick preliminary tuning, and then we will go ahead and slice these guys off. Slice them off, snip them off, I don't know, whatever. Got some tobacco coming up through my pipe or something. Through that long stem. Come on now. Come on now. Here we go. Come on. Come on, Bessie. There we go. Alright. Last one. This is a 10. Turn this mic a little bit here. What do you think about this guy? I've got a little ice cream cone pop filter / windscreen. That sucker looks pretty nice. And then when I go outside and do videos now, hopefully I don't get as much wind noise, because that last video I did where I was sitting outside, boy, I mean, it didn't turn out bad, but it definitely was not desirable. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then we are going to back this guy off about a thumb's width. Where'd my string winder go? Here it is. Alright, and then we're going to begin winding here. Get a little crease in it. Stick your thumb against it, that way it creases it right there at the winder. Alright. This little one sometimes is a pain in the neck. Sometimes it wants to wind itself right off. Okay, make sure that winds up where it's supposed to be. You can just kind of put a little friction right here on the nut with your finger just to kind of guide it, keep it from slipping off the... Okay. Okay, so here is... Obviously, it ain't in tune, man. It is not even close. So what I need to do is, I think I left my tuner upstairs. I should have a tuner down here, but I left it in my bag upstairs. So I'm gonna go throw all this trash away, pick up these old strings, throw them away, and then I will be back in just a moment with a tuner. We will give this guy a quick preliminary tune. We will go ahead and get the windings here seated. That's the biggest part of putting strings on, and then we will be done. We'll trim these off, take another quick couple of puffs on the pipe here, and we'll sign off. But you hang tight. I'll be right back with the tuner. Mamma mia, mwah, that's a delicious aroma note. Yeah, I just did that. Anyway, it's delicious, Bob's Chocolate Flake. If you can get some, man, I highly suggest it. It's definitely got the Lakeland essence to it. Although, it's not an overpowering thing. I mean, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's definitely very delicious. Almost makes me sad to have to put the pipe down again, but that's what we're gonna have to do because I gotta crack open this bad boy, which is some plum cake by McBaron. Psych! This is a repurposed tobacco tin that I use to... I keep my in-ears, and I keep a capo, and I keep a bunch of guitar picks in there, and that just goes in my bag that I take with me when I have to go play somewhere. It's actually very handy. I like these McBaron big tins because you can fit all kinds of crap in here. I can actually also fit a glass slide in here. Sometimes I keep that in there. I don't use it very often, so I don't know why I keep it in there, but I keep it in there just because. So, okay, so here's the tuner, and the irony is not lost on me. This is a Gibson guitar. I'm using a Fender tuner. Whatever. I'm an equal opportunity guitar player. I like them all. Okay, so we're just gonna... Come on now. There it is. Ooh, I was a good guesser at that one. Alright, there's the D. Then the G. It's a good guesser with that one too. That was really close. B and E. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. We're not going to cut these off yet. We're going to pull that tuner off. We're gonna just turn it off for now. Actually, no, let's just leave it on there. So now what we gotta do is give these strings a good stretch, because what's going on here is these winds are not fully seated. So you just kind of you're not gonna crank on them super hard, but you're gonna definitely give them a good tug just to seat them. Especially these upper three, you know, the D, or no, the G, the B, and the E. You're not gonna pull super hard, because you can pull hard enough that it'll break down here, but you definitely want to pull it so that it seats it. So now when we go to hit this up again, let me see if I can turn this so that you can see it a little, at least a little bit. See, we went from an E down to a D sharp, a flat D sharp. Okay, so there's E. Oh man, we went from an A all the way to an F. Now, a lot of guys will say that they don't like to play a guitar after they've changed the strings because it won't hold a tune. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's mainly bullshit. Because by seating them this way, I can change a full set of strings in the middle of a set and not have any issues with tuning stability. Just by doing this one thing. Just stretch them on there, get these windings seated as good as you possibly can, and you're set. You're all good. Okay, this one went from a D to a C sharp. That one didn't go as flat as I thought it would. All right, so now we're tuned up, and I'm gonna give them another quick tug. I like to do this a couple of times, just to make sure that everything is seated and everything is good. And usually, I'll do this until I don't get any tuning instability. Okay, so see, that went a little bit flat still, not by as much. And you might try to say, well, Justin, you're pulling the winds apart. No, I'm not pulling these off. It's just taking all the slack off of these tuning pegs is all it's doing. Alright. Sounding good so far. Let's do it one more time and see if we can get things fairly situated here. Just give it another couple of good pulls. See that now that it just went flat on the same note. So this is probably the last time I'm going to do it. Yeah, oh yeah. That one didn't go flat at all. That one went flat just a smidge. That one went flat only a little bit. I mean, are the strings going to stretch a little bit? Yes. But if you take tension out of the windings here, they're not gonna stretch out enough that from the time you begin a song to the time you end a song, it's gonna be out of tune. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, I guarantee it. You can take that to the bank, your old buddy Justin. He told you so, and you can write that down in your book of stuff that you write stuff down in. Okay, so here we go. This guitar, now that it's all tangled around my chair, is done and done. So the only, now that I just, okay, I just rammed the tuning pegs right into the desk there. I mean, that's Great way to knock it out of tune, dummy. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is just kind of take my side snips here and carefully, very carefully, snip these off because I don't like it. I don't like them there. I don't like them at all. There we go. You know, some people like to do the little curly Q windings and just leave them there. No. 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 Okay, let me toss these. Ugh. Okay, so there we have it. Brand new strings on l'épaule. Oh yeah. Let me get a pick here. You guys ain't gonna be able to hear this crap, but I can't help myself. It's got brand new strings. I gotta touch it. Sweet. Okay, it's done. Now all we gotta do is just kind of swap this guy out. So I'm just gonna kind of set it face down right here on this towel. We're gonna rip off that old piece of tape right there and throw it away. And I'm gonna go over there in the tobacco cabinet where I'm keeping my tobacco labeling tape and marker. Get some tape and a marker. Alright, so today is the 10th of April. 4/10/19. Just like that, 4/10/19 in my chicken scratch here, and then trying not to touch it and smudge it all over my finger because that's the last thing I frickin' need is Sharpie all over myself. And then we just take and place that right there like that. And now on the back side of this guitar I have a date to memorialize the day that I put these strings on. That way I can know every time I look at it that, hey, boy, it's been about a year since you frickin' put strings on that thing, you numbskull. Maybe you should take that sucker off the wall. Put some strings on there. So anyway, there it is. The 50s Tribute Les Paul from 2016 with some brand new strings. Brand new strings. And, yeah, there you have it. I'm going to go hang it up. And then I'm going to maybe come back and relight the bowl one last time. And then we'll just kind of close it on down from there. So you stay tuned. Hang on. Bob's Chocolate Flake, man. This is one that kind of grew on me. You know, at first, when I smoked it, it was one of those ones, it's like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not like, holy crap, that's really good. But it's one of those blends that it just kind of slowly snuck up on me. You know, I mean, it's one that's been around for a while. It's probably 150,000 million reviews out there, but, you know. So, you know, I'm not going to really give it a review. I'm just going to tell you I freaking like this stuff. All right, well, I got done what I needed to do in two things. I got some guitars, strings, put on my old Les Paul over there, and I got an episode of Justin's Joint made up, so hopefully I can get this thing edited this week. As I'm recording this, it is Wednesday the 10th. So, you know, if you've made it through the entire video and you heard me say that, you can have an inside track as to how long it took me to get this frickin' thing edited and uploaded. So, you know. Take that for what it is. But anyway, until next time, right here in the joint, we will see you later. Peace out.